Brandon, what changed the last couple of days that allowed this to get over the finish line?
Yeah, I mean, these are hard. They're never easy. I think you just try and keep working at it. And, obviously this was something that we had conversations back in the spring. We had to push pause and, focus on the draft and other things. And something that we said we would try to revisit when we got to training camp. And, unfortunately, you never want to hold in or hold out or any of that stuff. You want it all. But at the end of the day, you guys know our motto here. We want to draft and develop and re-sign. And that starts with Terry Pagula giving us, you guys know all the money we've doled out this offseason, and this is another draft pick that we're proud of and excited to extend. And fortunately, late last night, we got it across the finish line.
Some people might look at, the snap count and say that's, the money, there's risk involved with a running back. But for you, when you look at James, the workload in college, how many snaps he's played, how much confidence do you have that he can play at a very high level throughout the duration of that contract, in part because he doesn't have a lot of mileage like some guys would at 25 years old?
Yeah, James was not really a starter at Georgia. He was more in that sub-back role. And so he wasn't a guy that, sometimes you draft guys out of college and they're a 2-3 year workhorse. He was not. And his first year here he didn't. Even last year he's been around that 50% number. We like what he provides, and we do see him as a 3-down type player, and we think he could take more. But we also want to use our other weapons and keep him as fresh as possible. We think that's the best utilization of him. And we just look at, I know he gets put in the running back room or guys get put in a tight end room but it's just trying to find a variety of weapons and skill sets. And he's got a skill set that, that we wanted to maintain and keep with this offense.
Brandon, was there ever a point where you felt like this was starting to become a distraction?
I honestly was worried about that, Josh. I really was. But I think our team, really handled it. Maybe, we've been here a while. Obviously we've been through things in the past, things that happened, distractions. And I think our, the core of this team, yes, there's new players every year, but I think the core of this team, knew what this was about and that everyone was level-headed. And yes, James was not on the practice field, but he was at walkthroughs, he was in meetings, and he wasn't just there physically, like he was engaged in those things and engaged with his teammates. And these things can get a little awkward. They can, because love Jimbo. I'm so proud of where he has grown, on and off the field from the day we drafted him to now rewarding him with this extension. So there was never a case of not wanting to extend him. It's just, sometimes these things are hard, and trying to get on the same page of what we could make work and, what they felt, would make them happy on their end.
You said last night everything kind of came together. Like when he practiced yesterday, was it pretty much with an understanding that you guys were pretty close on something, and that's how we got to where we got to yesterday with him practicing?
I think we had an understanding that, we need to practice if we're going to be able to get back to the table. And so I think there was good faith on both parts, from, him and his agent to our side. And, once we got him back on the practice field, we really worked hard yesterday. Kevin Meegank and on our side, and Zach Hiller, James's agent, on his side. And I think it was roughly 11 o'clock or so last night where we were able to say both sides are good with this, and we'll get it signed in the morning.
Brandon, with any time a player signs a contract extension, at least externally, there's an expectation that their level of play at least at least stays the same, if not rises. Mm-hmm. You've signed a lot of extensions here with Christian and Terrell, now James. The list goes on this offseason. What do you need to see collectively from that group moving forward to make sure that this was money well spent?
Yeah, listen, at the end of the day, you can't guarantee someone, hey, you sign this, you got to win us a championship or anything like that. But I think it's just playing their role, doing their job, and continuing to ascend in those same habits that they had to, obviously they got to play well on the field, but continue those same habits that help them have the success on the field. And these guys are all players that we extended this offseason that I feel are still ascending talents in the league. So continue to work on your craft. Don't change who you are just because you've been paid. And I feel very confident every single person that we've paid and the guys you've seen, none of them, took time off or were, other than the little break in the summer, but they were very engaged in the off-season program. These guys have come back ready to roll, and I know Jimbo will do that as well. These are competitive guys, and so just helping take our team. This is the new young core that we're kind of putting our money into, and lead on the field, lead off the field, just be the kind of Buffalo Bills that we want.
With James specifically, what does the next level look like? Because the production was what it was last year at the snap count. And so if you want to keep that snap count around the same, what can he do to reach the next level?
Yeah, listen, I think like anything, it's that fine balance. Some of it is it's not him wanting out. It's that balance of us just trying to throw as many different pieces and different looks for the defense to play against, while also keeping him fresh. He's an explosive talent, and like anything, you start, overusing them, they're going to get wear and tear, and all of a sudden, you don't see the same explosive player. So it's us utilizing that. Like anything, James is a guy that we do think can be a three-down player. It doesn't mean everything's perfect. There's some little things that he's already been working on and will continue to work on. But we're excited with where he's at, and he's still a young talent. And as we've said in here, don't think he's been overtaxed or a guy that the tread on his tires is getting worn by any means.
Brandon, you've never dealt with a hold in a situation like this before. What did you learn from your seat on, going through something like this?
Yeah, I learned I don't sleep well. So I don't like those things. They're no fun. And they're no fun from a standpoint of this is a player you really love, you're proud of. It can be tough. Like you're working together and you want to get it done, and I'm sure, James probably had some frustrating thoughts or things he wasn't happy with me about, and I respect that. I don't hold it against anyone if he was that way. Like, it's the business part. We've talked about it before. Sometimes we have to move on from players that we love, and in this case, the business part is hard. You're trying to find something that is agreeable to both sides, and again, you'd love for it not to come to a hold in, but we've never had that here. It's not something that we wanted, going forward. And, I do appreciate that James was, ready to get back on the practice field yesterday, and we could move forward to see if we could get a resolution here.
How are you able to maintain those positive talks through what you said can be an awkward situation?
I think just being truthful, being honest, being straight up, and allowing James to have his truthful feelings said too. Like, as I've told him, he can't hurt my, hey James, you can't hurt my feelings. Like, say what you feel here. Like, but also listen to, some of the things that you need to understand from our side as well. And so we had some good conversations, and I give, the coaches a lot of credit. That's not easy. They want the player out there, as do I. And those guys stayed engaged with him, maintained, didn't let it distract the team, or, Joe Brady letting it distract the offense, or, Kelly Skipper letting it distract the running back room. I think everyone, was a lockstep. Yes, we're on Hard Knocks, and yes, we got more cameras around, but I don't think anyone handled it in a way that wasn't professional and wasn't, about the best interest of the Buffalo Bills.
Brandon, you spoke about that group of extensions this offseason now, including James Cook. Why is that group worthy of being the new core of this team?
Yeah, again, I think these guys have all, in their own respect, Maddie, at their own positions, they've been pros on the field. They've been pros off the field. They've done some really nice things at their positions. And, as I was saying to Jay earlier, I don't think any of these players that we extended have hit their, hit their ceiling. I don't think they're on the backside of their career. And, again, we're looking for these guys to continue to ascend as players at their respective positions, but also, you want your locker room, the guys you pay, you want them to be guys that are respected by their teammates and be rewarded. And I think it sends another message to these guys that aren't up for extensions yet, whether it's the last couple draft classes or the current draft class. Hey, we will do our best here. We still have to make it all fit within the cap, and sometimes, there are drafted players that have left here that we couldn't make it work. That stinks, but when we can, we're going to try to keep as many as possible if you're doing all those things that I mentioned.
When you're building a team, you look at the running back, is this kind of how you envision it? You have these guys Ray does what he does, Ty Johnson, third down back. I think last year you said at the beginning of the year that this was a running back room that you really kind of were proud of how you guys put it all together.
Yeah, I really liked how they worked well together. They cheer for each other. They're out there. No one's griping about who's getting the goal line carries or who's in on third down or a 2-minute or whatever the situation is. These guys are all cheering for each other, and there's been no pouting upstairs. Hey, I ran the ball down the field. Why did this player get to run it in from the 2-yard line, or whatever the situation is? These guys, and I think their skill set it offsets each other, and I think we can play in tough conditions. We can play on a fast turf. We got guys that can catch the ball. We got multiple guys that can pass protect. That's the thing. It's one thing as a receiving back to be able to catch the ball, run routes, but you've also got to be able to pass protect when they're zero blitzing. They're bringing everyone. Someone's got to be able to stand in there, be able to sift through the trash and pick up the blitz wherever it's coming from. And that's not only physically but mentally seeing all that, the variety of schemes that defenses, the looks that they give you. So I like the group and excited. Obviously Ty, we extended him this offseason. Ray still on his rookie deal, and now we've extended James. So very excited.
One can kick too.
And we've added a reserve kicker in Ray. So we always say here, the more you can do, the more versatility.
What was James's reaction when it kind of got across the finish line?
Well, James, he's very jovial and outspoken. No, he was good. He shot me a text. I didn't mess with him last night because it was so late, but shot him a text this morning, and he came by the office. And again, Jimbo's he's a man of few words, as you know, but he's happy. He's up there. He just signed it before I walked down, so he's good to go. He'll be out there on the practice field ready to roll.
Brandon, you watched a lot of players sign contract extensions. What's different about watching a player sign their first NFL contract extension? Yeah,
it's like a proud dad, big brother moment. It really is. Like you're like, man, this. I think Josh said it on one of his things, generational wealth. Like you just, again, you want to reward them all. It doesn't always work. Sometimes the situation doesn't call for them earning, this kind of extension. Or like I said earlier, sometimes the business gets in the way and you can't afford it. But when it all works out, for me, it's exciting and a proud dad moment, I guess.
Does this offer you guys any cap relief this season?
Maybe a little bit. It's not going to be a lot, but a little bit for sure. James was counting 5-something, I believe. So yeah, a little bit. Nothing too crazy, so that we're not pushing crazy numbers down the road.
You need to make some moves here before when it stops being top 51.
When it stops being top 51, we'll still have to probably do something.
And just to clarify, Brandon, this is a 4-year extension on top of the year he has remaining.
Yeah, through 2029.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.